Every person you admire has a face they show in public and a face they only show to themselves. That's not deception. Nietzsche would say it's intelligence, possibly survival, maybe something even deeper than both. We live in an age that demands radical authenticity. Be yourself. Show up real. Drop the act. But what if the most creative, most powerful people in history knew something different? What if the mask wasn't the lie, but the strategy? Nietzsche wrote about the mask more than almost any other philosopher, and what he said will challenge everything you think you know about authenticity. What is the mask for? Who is it protecting? And when does it stop being protection and start becoming a prison? Nietzsche was a man who wrote in notebooks he never published, who said things in private letters he'd never say in lectures, who used literary characters to voice ideas he was not yet ready to claim as his own. He was, in other words, someone who understood the need for distance between what you think and what you show. He wrote in Beyond Good and Evil, every profound spirit needs a mask, not as a metaphor, as a psychological observation about what happens when deep, unusual, powerful inner lives are exposed too early to a world not ready to receive them. This video is about that idea, not about deception, not about building a fake personal brand, but about the relationship between what you are inside and what you choose to show, and why that relationship is one of the most important psychological skills of a creative life. We're going to look at what Nietzsche actually meant by the mask, why he thought profound people need one, the difference between a strategic mask and a cowardly one, and what this means for you in a world that tells you transparency is always a virtue. Let's start with what the mask is actually for. Here's Nietzsche's first argument for the mask. The world is not a safe place for unusual minds, not because people are evil, but because most people are ordinary. And ordinary minds, when they encounter something they don't understand, tend to attack it, diminish it, or domesticate it. If you have an unconventional way of seeing the world, a genuinely original idea, a different set of values, a creative vision that doesn't fit existing categories, and you share it too early, too openly, too completely, you give the crowd exactly what it needs to destroy it. Nietzsche watched this happen repeatedly to himself, to people he admired. He wrote that the mask grows continuously around a profound spirit, almost without the person choosing it. Because reality forces the adjustment. You show something real, the world misreads it. You learn. This is not the same as lying. The mask isn't fabricating something false. It's controlling the timing and depth of what you reveal. It's saying, not everything I think needs to be said. Not everything I feel needs to be displayed. Not everyone has earned access to the interior. Think about every time you've overshared something real, an idea you were still forming, a feeling you hadn't fully understood, a creative project at its most vulnerable stage, and the world responded by flattening it, by making it smaller than it was, by turning it into a category it didn't fit. Think about every time you've overshared something real, an idea you were still forming, a feeling you hadn't fully understood, a creative project at its most vulnerable stage, and the world responded by flattening it, by making it smaller than it was, by turning it into a category it didn't fit. But Nietzsche goes further than protection. He says the mask doesn't just guard the person, it shapes them. When you consciously adopt a way of showing up in the world, you don't just perform it. Over time, you become it. The persona is a form of creation directed inward. This is one of Nietzsche's most radical ideas. There is no fixed authentic self underneath the mask waiting to be discovered. The self is not found, it is made. And one of the most powerful ways to make it is through deliberate, conscious persona. Think about how this works in practice. You decide to show up as someone more confident than you currently feel. You adopt the posture, the directness, the tone. At first, it's performance. But gradually, through repetition, through the feedback the world gives you when you show up that way, you begin to inhabit it. The performance becomes a practice. The practice becomes a person. History is full of people who understood this. David Bowie didn't just perform Ziggy Stardust. He used the persona to access creative capacities he didn't know he had. Coco Chanel constructed a persona of fierce independence decades before she felt it. The mask was the laboratory. The person was the result. This is why the modern demand for radical authenticity misses something crucial. It assumes the authentic self pre-exists and just needs to be uncovered. But Nietzsche says, you are building yourself. Every role you play, every persona you inhabit, every mask you wear, it is all material. The question is whether you're building consciously or by accident. But Nietzsche wasn't naive. He also wrote about the danger of the mask. What happens when the persona, originally chosen as a tool, calcifies into a cage? When you no longer choose the mask? When the mask chooses for you. The difference between a strategic mask and a prison mask is this. The strategic mask serves the inner life. The prison mask replaces it. One protects the core, the other erases it. And the erosion is slow enough that most people don't notice until it's complete. In the modern world, this shows up as the person who has been professional for so long they don't know what they actually think about anything. The person who has been nice for so long they've lost access to their actual preferences. The person who has performed a persona on social media until the performance is all that's left. Nietzsche's test for whether your mask is a tool or a trap. Can you take it off? Is there still a person underneath who has independent thoughts, independent values, who exists when no one is watching? Or has the performance become the totality of who you are? The profound spirit, in Nietzsche's vision, wears the mask with full awareness. They know they're wearing it. They know why. They can choose to deepen it, change it, or set it aside. The mask is always in service of something real beneath it, not a substitute for that reality. Let's land this. The culture tells you that the most virtuous thing you can do is be completely transparent. No filters, no curation, no masks. Raw, unmediated, always on display. And that sounds liberating, but for anyone with a genuinely rich interior life, it is actually the most dangerous thing they can do. Because the thing about radical transparency is this. It doesn't make you more known. It makes you more consumed. Every private thought broadcast becomes a product. Every vulnerable moment shared becomes content. The world doesn't become more intimate with you. It becomes more entitled to you. Nietzsche's alternative is harder. It requires that you know what you actually are, your real values, your actual creative vision, your genuine convictions, and that you protect that core from everyone who hasn't earned it. Not because other people are threats, but because your interior is not a performance. It is the source. So here's the charge. Stop mourning the version of yourself you think you were supposed to show the world by now. Stop performing the persona the algorithm selected for you and called it authenticity. Build your mask consciously as a tool that serves who you are actually becoming, not a cage built from other people's expectations. And invest in the core it protects, the unshared ideas, the work in progress nobody has rated yet, the values you hold when nobody's watching. That interior is not a liability in the social media age. It is your greatest advantage precisely because it cannot be algorithm optimized or crowdsourced or attention farmed. It belongs entirely to you. Amor Fati. Love the mask you've had to wear, every role you've played to survive, every persona you've adopted to function in a world that couldn't quite hold what you actually are. All of it was data. All of it was practice. All of it was building the craftsman who now knows exactly when to wear the mask and exactly when to take it off. The question is never, am I wearing a mask? Everyone is. Always. The question is, do you know you're wearing it? Is it serving your interior or replacing it? Are you the craftsman or the puppet? Are you the artist who chose the persona or the persona that consumed the artist? The world will keep demanding transparency. Keep rewarding performance and calling it realness. Keep mistaking visibility for depth. You don't have to participate in that confusion. You can be someone who knows the difference between the face you show and the fire you protect. Someone who wears their masks with full awareness, choosing each one, serving the core, never letting the performance become the person. That is what Nietzsche meant by a profound spirit. And it is something you can begin practicing today. If this resonance reached you, subscribe to join our journey into the depths of psychology and power. Like this video to help spread these ideas to those still performing their authenticity for an algorithm that doesn't know who they are.